Welcome everyone to the absolutely stunning encounter at the second round of the Sinquefield Cup 2025 between world champion Domaraju Gukesh and Uzbek number 1 Nodirbek Abdusattorov. Gukesh is asked to sign something there, and as he does it, he fills in his score sheet. It's the second round of the tournament. The first round didn't go the way of these two gentlemen on your screen. Gukesh lost his game 1 to Pragnananda, while Nodirbek lost his first game to Levon Aronian. Now it's second round and Gukesh has the white pieces, Nodirbek has black, and it's going to be very exciting to see them fighting against each other as we have seen in the past. When they both clash, there is absolutely no bars held. They just go all out at each other totally. And this one's going to be no different. A handshake, and Gukesh with the white pieces opens with 1 e4. Makes sense. Just taking the center. And what is Nodirbek's reply going to be? He replies with the super solid e5. The knight comes out to f3. For many people, this might well be a world championship match that we would be seeing some years down the line. Gukesh versus Nodirbek. After all, they are the two best players in the world of chess. Gukesh goes for the Ruy Lopez. And always when you are facing Gukesh, you have to be slightly careful because he has an insane amount of opening work that he has done in classical chess for his world championship match in different openings. And will he unload them in this tournament? It remains to be seen. Knight to f6. White castles here. And now the main line closed Ruy Lopez is knight bishop e7, but he goes knight takes e4 for the open Ruy Lopez. Gukesh pushes his pawn to d4. And now black plays his pawn to b5, attacking the bishop. The bishop comes back to b3. And pawn to d5, capturing the center. D takes e5. The pawn on d5 is attacked twice. Bishop comes out to e6, defending the pawn. White jumps knight to d2. And Nodirbek goes for knight c5. This is all well-known theory. You can see both the players having 1 hour 33 minutes on the clock. c3 played here to make space for the bishop to come back to c2. Remember, taking here is not a good idea. I mean, it's possible, but not the best. d4 and now bishop c2. This is slightly unusual, this move that Gukesh has played. And Nodirbek pushes forward with d3. Yes, the bishop is terrible. You can see all of white pieces on the last rank. However, what needs to be understood here is that this could very well become a weakness. Rook comes to e1, controlling the e4 square. The queen was moved to d5 by Nodirbek to prepare long castling. He does it. It's very risky because the queen side is a bit exposed. Knight to g5 played here by Gukesh. It's his prep. Look at that. 1 hour 35 minutes. Nodirbek, bold, takes the pawn on e5, asking Gukesh to show his prep. And Gukesh goes a4. Now, think about it. The bishop is popping out on the a2 square. So, bishop d6 actually controls the knight. Now, if you play bishop a2, I go back queen c6. I don't have to worry about rook e5. Gukesh chops off the pawn on b5, taking a few minutes here on the clock. A b5, and you will see that while Nodirbek is down to 1:11, Gukesh has 1 hour 28 minutes. He goes bishop a2 after a good solid 27 minutes of thought. The best move now is queen c6, and the position is equal. I understand it's not an easy move to make, so Nodirbek goes knight c4, but this is a big error. He's come here, he's trying to block the attack on the queen, but this square is weak. So b4, first of all, taking the knight away, Knight has to move from the protection of the bishop. Also, queen takes g5 is a bad move because of knight c4 attacking the queen. So, knight moves back to d7. Nodirbek is happy about this knight going back. He wants to get his knight to b6 next. And now a very good move is bishop takes c4. Absolutely good. Pawn takes c4 is a must. And then you take on e6. So, takes, knight takes. Yes, he takes back. Now, knight e6, f e6 and rook a5. With the very interesting idea of knight f3, knight d4. Gukesh goes rook a5. He's finding these moves. He's playing brilliantly here. Queen goes back to c6 and now take the bishop. It's an important move, but Gukesh goes knight f3. Not the best move here. Aha. Because now he wants to go to d4, but bishop d5 is super strong. And once the bishop is alive, black gets a lot of compensation and counterplay. Yes, he plays bishop d5 here. Actually, it's black who's pawn up, so there's no question of compensation. But just the fact that white has so much of an attack which is rolling with the rook standing here, the pieces. Black's position is super solid. Goes bishop e3. Gukesh brings out his bishop. Maybe rook h e8 makes a lot of sense. He pushes the knight away, which is also a good move. The knight has to come back to f3. Where else can it go? So Nodirbek actually is taking on Gukesh's prep and has got a great position, which is actually just goes to speak volumes of the talent that Nodirbek has. He goes knight to b6. Another strong move played by him. And Gukesh goes knight d2, welcoming bishop takes g2 because of queen g4 check and you pick up the bishop. So you can't do that. Knight d2 and now rook h e8 or king b8. These are the good moves in the position, but he goes h5. I think also an interesting move. He wants to create play here with his two bishops eyeing on the king side. And also stopping queen g4 check. So now bishop g2 becomes a reality. Knight to b5. What a move by Gukesh. If bishop g2 now, he wants to play with f3. This is typical Gukesh chaos that he is creating. Nodirbek says, I'm not really tempted by taking off this pawn. I'm going back bishop c6. Now knight takes d6 is possible. But the question is, should Gukesh go for this bishop or should he go for a check and pick up this bishop? He chooses the latter. He wants the bishop on c6. Nodirbek goes king b8. And now you can pick up the bishop here. Knight takes c6. Yes, he takes knight takes c6. After queen takes on c6. Now, how should white react is the big question. Maybe knight f3. Yes, he plays his knight to f3 here. And rook h comes to e8. He brings his rook into the center of the board and knight d4 attacking the queen here and queen to e4 played. Now queen comes into the center of the board. Gukesh pushes forward with b5. He's jumping in with knight c6 check as a threat. And Nodirbek goes king to b7. And he jumps in knight c6. Wow, the position is sharpening up. The rook is attacked here on d8. He comes back queen d5, the best move here because there was threats on the e file as well. And he takes the rook. Knight takes on d8. Rook takes d8. Let's take stock of the situation. Black has a super strong pawn on d3, has one pawn for the exchange and has great compensation. Queen a1 played. Well, with some ideas of rook a7 and queen a6, he goes king b8. Playing so well is Nodirbek here. He goes queen to a2, keeping up the pressure here. The best move now is bishop c5, trading the bishops, or rook e8, also a good move. He plays rook e8. Wow. Nodirbek now seriously getting better. You can see he's excited. He has 9 minutes 48 seconds. Gukesh has 3 minutes 36 seconds. Rook e4 played. after queen to d2. And he comes back rook a1. Now these are the moves you really don't want to be making when you're attacking. But I think Gukesh has lost some faith in his position. But h4 and a big blunder here by Nodirbek Abdusattorov. The threat was bishop takes b6. But it seems like Nodirbek did not realize this moment that bishop b6 is possible. Because here in this position the rook was not defended. So if you took bishop b6, I had queen e5 attacking here. But actually now with rook a1, h4, you just take it. And now queen e5 doesn't work because the rook is protected. So plays c takes b6 and rook takes e4. Gukesh is able to trade off things. And that's important. Queen takes e4. And now just queen e1. Trading pieces or else entering the camp. He goes queen a2, which is perhaps the second best move in the position. He wants to enter here with queen to a7. King comes to c8. Maybe check. There goes queen to b7. I don't know. The thing is, if you trade queens, the white king is too close to the pawn. And rook versus bishop is just losing. So actually speaking, queen b7 is impossible. He goes queen a6 check. And now suddenly Gukesh is completely winning here. Queen b7, as we just said, is a bad move. So he goes king d7 trying to keep the queens. Queen takes on b6. Just take the pawn. Yes, takes it. And threat now rook a7 check. He goes queen to e5. Threatening a mate in... Not a mate. Yes, actually mate in 2 here. Queen h2, queen h1. But a very good way to deal with this is to start with a check on c6 and then play pawn to g3. He plays it. Now why queen c6? Because you control this diagonal and next move you want to play g3. King e7 played. And now pawn to g3, an important move because with rook a7 there's no mate. He finds it. He plays g3 here. And it's a calm, cool move. Gukesh says he believes in this position. Queen takes c3 is not really a great idea because queen e4 followed by rook a7. He goes d2, but that's just a mistake. Queen takes c4, an excellent move here by Gukesh. If queen e1, he has queen f1. Very strong move. That's the point. And Nodirbek has lost a key pawn. He goes anyway, queen e1 check. If you say A, you must say B. And now the queen comes back to f1. Nodirbek comes back, queen to e5. And now rook to d1. He's like, I'm going after this pawn. Takes on g3. H takes g3. White is simply an exchange and couple of pawns up. Bishop c5. And now d2 pawn is hanging. He takes it. Yes, Nodirbek has a plan to chop off this pawn on g3. But after queen g2, it's all over. Because queen g2, and if you take the pawn on c3 here, it's nothing doing. Queen b7 will quickly lead to a checkmate. So queen g2 here, Nodirbek is thinking about what needs to be done. Gukesh, feeling relaxed, drinking water. Nodirbek resigns, a handshake, and Gukesh scores his first win of the Sinquefield Cup, starting off with a loss, but then coming back strongly. Nodirbek starts off with 2 losses, something that's not very common for him, but I'm pretty sure he'll come back. For now, the world champion has got himself rolling in this tournament, and with this sense of preparation that he has and the way he played today, it will be interesting to see how he fares in the remaining rounds. And I think they're discussing here about some position that when knight c6 was played. I like it. I love this thing about Nodirbek. I love this about Gukesh. The thing is, they're ready to discuss. They might be the biggest of rivals, but they also know that both of them are world-class players. So there is something to be learned from each other. Look at Gukesh having that kind of great curiosity there. And well, this is going to be a super exciting event to follow. For now, I hope you enjoyed this game. This is Sagar Shah signing off from the Sinquefield Cup in USA, St. Louis. Just to show you how amazing Gukesh's preparation was, we take a look at ChessBase 18 and the live database in it. We go through the moves and you will see on the right below the games and the moves are updating. You can see that this is a very popular line of the Open Rui Lopez. There are close to 22,000 games here. Knight d2, he goes knight c5, which is one of the main lines. 5,900 games. c3, again 5,900 games here. Nodirbek goes for the second main move, which has 1798 games. And this is where Gukesh already starts showing his world-class prep. Bishop takes e6 is the main move. Knight g5 is the second main move in the position. But he goes for the fourth played move, bishop c2. Now, this wouldn't come as a surprise to Nodirbek, because if you look at the white elo, there is Wesley So, Vichugov, at least two players who have played this, and especially Wesley So versus Jordan Van Forest is a very top level game. So d3 played here by Nodirbek, bishop b1, we have 13 games here, queen d5, rook e1, we reach 11 games, and now long castle, which is actually something that maybe was Nodirbek's prep perhaps. He goes here and Gukesh was ready with this with his new move, knight g5, and he gives up a pawn in the center here, knight e5, and was also ready with the next move, a4. This is the reason why I feel like this was an incredible opening preparation in a line that is the Open Rui Lopez, which has been played so many times, and Gukesh has a novelty hidden somewhere deep in the line on moves number, starting from move number 11 going to move 14 and 15, and this is what World Championship prep is all about.